Want to start now. I think a lot of students think that their application begins after the application cycle opens. That's when everything begins. That's when I should start paying attention to which schools to apply to, or all where to submit, when to submit, all the different pieces. And that's not the case. If you want to become a physical therapist and you are applying to PT school this year and you want to get accepted on your first try or on your next try, here are 6 must-do tasks before the application cycle opens. Now, for those of y'all that are listening, my name is Joseph Gugi. I am a physical therapist, one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, where for years we've specialized in helping students get accepted into physical therapy school at a very, very high acceptance rate. That's what we've done. We've worked with a ton of students, and this is go time for those of you who are planning on applying to PT school this year. So if you are not planning on applying to PT school this year and you're planning on applying a year, 2, 3 plus from now, this will still be valuable because this is information you'll want to know for when it's time for you to apply to PT school as well. But for those of y'all applying this year, listen up. Here are 6 things you want to do to get ahead of the game. The PT school application typically opens on June 15th. So be on the lookout for that, but you want to start now. I think a lot of students think that their application begins after the application cycle opens. That's when everything begins. That's when I should start paying attention to which schools to apply to, or, all where to submit, when to submit, all the different pieces. And that's not the case. You actually started applying to PT school as early as your freshman year of college. You just didn't realize it because you weren't looking at the application process and the GRE and PTCAS and all that stuff. And so here are 6 things to get you ahead of the game so that you are not way behind. And also this will increase your chances of getting accepted on either your first try or your next try. So let's go through these 6, and then at the very end, the 6th one is going to be an opportunity that we're going to be having here in the next few days that you want to take advantage of if you're watching this video before that opportunity. I'll break it down for you here shortly, but let's dive into it. So number 1, choose the best match physical therapy programs starting now, right? I think one of the biggest things is we've talked about this a lot, but the schools that you select to apply to are a big deal. Like if you apply to the wrong schools, and we've seen it, like if you apply to the wrong schools based off of where you're at stats wise, based off where you're at with every other part of your application, then that could be an automatic no. And you don't want to apply to schools that are automatic no's, because now you've basically thrown money away. So let's figure out what the best match schools are for you, and let's start picking them now. Like, we should know now where we're going, because that's like your compass. That's what's telling you like where you're going. It's like your GPS. If I know where I'm trying to go, then every action should start following suit. So number 1, choose your best match PT programs. If you don't know how to do it, don't worry. Point number 6 will help you do that. So number 2, figure out, once you know what those schools are, figure out their application deadlines, right? Because now you're trying to figure out, how do I know when their deadline is? Some schools have soft deadlines and hard deadlines, but basically this is the deadline that I need to know like how much time I have. Like if I still need to take the GRE, if I still need to retake a summer class or whatnot, how much time do I have? Because you do not want to be the student that is basically trying to figure things out a week before the deadline, a day before the deadline. We see that all the time. We literally get DMs on Instagram all the time, and even on TikTok, with students right before their deadline, and they're in panic mode. They're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that the school wanted this. How do I pull this off? How do I get X amount of hours? They wanted 80 hours. I only have 40 observation hours. How do I, students usually panic because they didn't plan for that time frame. So figure that out. Like, when is these perfect match schools, when is their application deadline? Because if I know that, then now I'll be able to act accordingly, or at least prepare for it. Number 3, assess the PT program's requirements. Please do not get caught off guard. It seems so simple, but please do not get caught off guard. So many students every single year are caught off guard by this one part alone. They don't look at the requirements. Look at their website. Look at what the requirements are on PTCAS. Feel free to reach out to the schools if you need to, but please do not get that part wrong. I cannot tell you how many students apply, and I really can't tell you because there's way too many students that we see every single year who get rejection letters simply because there was 1, 2, or 3 requirements that they were missing. They were literally 1, 2, or 3 classes, or 1, 2, or 3 something away from actually being a decent applicant for that program, but because they did not meet certain requirements that were very they could have figured them out ahead of time, then that's where they got rejected. One of the big things that I tell our students that we have in our coaching program is I say, when you're applying to PT school, you want to be able to submit your application and know I did everything in my power. Like, I already know what the school's going to see. I already know what the school's going to think. And I already anticipated those things and I acted accordingly. And when you can do that, then you have a lot more certainty that you're going to get into that, or at least you'll have a high chance of getting into that program. So that's number 3. Number 4, determine what requirements that you need to complete now. Now, you know what the program requirements are, but number 4 is like, figure out like, how am I going to execute on them? If I still got to take the GRE, what's my game plan for the GRE? Do not procrastinate. If I need to retake a class, do I have time to do that? Where am I going to take it? How am I going to get the funds to do that? Figure that out now. A lot of students are just kind of waiting. And I know that some of you are finishing up finals as you're listening to this, depending on when you're hearing this. But let's figure that out now, because that is your strategy. That is your game plan. And if you wait too long, then now the pressure starts to build up. And that's usually when students either get anxious or they just say, you know what, this is too much. I'll wait another year before I apply. And remember, every year that you don't get into PT school is a year removed from your dream of becoming a physical therapist. And so it's just a matter of how badly you want it. And if you want it now, then let's figure these things out right now. And then number 5, it's then saying, okay, cool. Can I complete my requirements before the deadline, right? So now I know which requirements I need to complete. Well, 1, I know what the requirements of the programs are. I know which ones I need to complete. And then number 5 is, can I do it? Can I actually pull it off? If you realize that, wait, I still have 4 prerequisites that I need to take, then you might realize, I don't know if I can pull that off before the deadline for the program, right? And most schools, and I'm not trying to get into all the details here yet, but most schools will actually give you the ability to have at least 2 prerequisite classes that are either planned or in progress, right? So that gives you some wiggle room. But let's say you only have 4. Let's say you're like, oh my goodness, I'll have 4 classes that are planned or in progress. That automatically disqualifies you from some of the schools. So you want to figure out, what can I actually pull off? And if you don't know, then ask for someone that can actually help you figure that out, whether that's us, our team, reach out to us, or even go to point number 6, which I'll tell you here shortly, that'll help you do that. But if you're watching this like 2 months after we posted it, a year after we posted it, then please just reach out to us, send us an email, preptgrind@preptgrind.com, and we will help you figure it out. But we just need to know timeline. Can I pull it off? Because if I can't, then that might genuinely mean that sometimes I have to wait an extra year. I might have to wait till next year so that I can pull off some pretty significant pieces that don't actually have me in a position where I can actually apply and get accepted into a PT program. So that's a big piece. Self-awareness is huge, but you'd be surprised how many rejection letters come when students, like I said before, students that just did not know that. And they were like, oh my goodness, like I thought that they would give me like an allowance for having 3 classes that were planned or in progress, or 4 classes that were planned or in progress. And that's not the case for most schools. And so that's point number 5. And then point number 6 is like, get strategy guidance that's proven, right? And so for us, point number 6 is sign up and attend our free 2023 PT School Acceptance Masterclass that we're hosting on May 21st. So if you're watching this after May 21st, then still go to the link, because we're probably going to redirect you to something else that will still help you. But for those of you that are watching this before May 21st of 2023, go to automaticacceptance.com, www.automaticacceptance.com. We will also write it up below, but www.automaticacceptance.com. If you do that, you will be in a great position overall. So let me know if that makes sense, but that's how you do it. Those are the 6 things that you need to do. If you do not want to be behind, those are the 6 things. And here's what the masterclass is about for those of you that might be curious about point number 6. So the masterclass is basically going to be a 60 to 90 minute training that we've done many, many times. And I think up until this point, we've had anywhere around 7,500 or 7,600 students that have collectively sat in for that particular training over the years. Most of our services are paid, but this is a training that where we basically sit down and teach you the blueprint that our students have been able to use to get accepted into PT school, whether it was because of struggles with standardized tests, having passed low grades, having past rejections, all the different pieces that lead students to feel stuck or feel like they're not good enough. And also the ability to figure out what your blind spots are. And a lot of students don't know what their blind spots are. So if you want to give yourself a high level of certainty that you'll get accepted, if you want to give yourself a high probability of acceptance into PT school, this is the blueprint. This is it. And there's nothing quite like it anywhere else. Your advisor that doesn't even know how to teach you what we're going to be showing you. How do we know that? Because we've just been in this game long enough, and I have never met an advisor that has told students what we're sharing with you during that training. But if you're serious about doing everything in your power to get into PT school, go to that link, save your spot for it. This particular training is free, and then we will show you how we can continue helping you even beyond that training. So www.automaticacceptance.com, sign up for it. And if you're like, yo, I have friends that need to be there, have them also sign up for it as well. And we'll see you there. That is it. Hope this training was helpful. If you have missed any of the other trainings in the past, then just go binge on them, listen to them, and we'd be more than happy to help you in any way that we can. But this is the place to be if you want to be a physical therapist. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below as well, so we can know what your biggest takeaways are. And we will talk soon. Have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you on the next training. Bye.